First things first, prep. You need cucumbers, a garbage bowl for onion peels and garlic peels, cutting board, garlic and onion if you like it in there. I do. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. Sanitized jars. I ran them through the dishwasher last night on a sanitation setting, so they're good to go. Rings and lids. A jar tong. This is helpful, but you can get it out a different means. It's just a little magnet to get your lids out of the boiling water. This is super helpful, just a little funnel to get everything into the jars. A stock pot. A second stock pot would work just fine, or this is a 5-quart cast iron kettle. So I didn't grab dill from the garden, so I ran out and I grabbed dill. So the packing part goes pretty easily. For a quart, 2 garlic, 2 good chunks of onion, more or less if you want. This part's customizable, so make this your own. 1 dill flower, and a good sized dill leaflet. And then just toss in your sliced pickles, sliced cucumbers. Give it a little shake. They'll start to kind of settle themselves down and pack in a little bit. Be surprised how much you can fit in there when you just start to kind of wiggle them around. You'll also be surprised when we pull them out of the water bath how much space ends up in there. And you're like, I thought I packed those so tight. But actually, create a ton of space at the end. So just use all the real estate you have. Make sure that you're not wasting any space in your pantry with half-empty jars. And in your fridge, once you start to open these, you'll have to put them in the fridge and you'll save a little space there too. All right, that looks great. So these are just regular dill pickles. It's like a little pickle party. All right, let's get our lids out. Still boiling hot, hot, hot. I'm gonna turn this down just to make it easier for me to get the lids out. Use your little magnet. If you don't have a magnet, you can use the tongs or something else to grab them. Just be careful, the water is super duper hot. Get them on your jars fast and in the water fast, because you don't want that seal to get cold and risk not sealing so it's not shelf stable. Okay, lids on, grab our tongs, pop these babies in the water bath right away. So that was our last group of lids, remember. We didn't put any more lids in the water because we kind of need to reset, collect ourselves, and I'm actually gonna make another kind. So get these going. Make sure, now this one has 1 quart and 4 pints in the water bath. Make sure that your water comes up above the tallest jar that's in there. You want about an inch above at minimum. This is perfect, even for the quart. So everything came up. Pop that heat back up to high. I'm gonna stick the lid back on just to kind of help it along. Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes. All of our regular dill pickles are complete. I tossed the rest of our lids into our water bath over here so that seal can start working for us. And in our kettle here, we're ready to set up our brine for sweet and spicy. In this kettle, we have 4 quarts of water, 1 quart of vinegar, 1 cup of canning salt, and 2 cups of sugar. I'm gonna give it a quick stir to help that sugar and salt incorporate into the liquid. I'm gonna cover it, put it on high heat. We wanna bring this to a rolling boil again and just let it hang out while we get our jars ready. That looks pretty good. Okay, so I already have our jars set up with the garlic, the onion, and the dill, just like we did our regular dill pickle. To our jars, if it's a quart jar, it's going to be 1 teaspoon of mustard seed, 1 teaspoon of celery seed, 1 teaspoon of red pepper flake. You can be generous if you like things a little more hot. You can do less if you don't. And a 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric. If you're going to do pint jars of sweet and spicy, you're just gonna half it. So a 1/2 teaspoon of mustard seed, a 1/2 teaspoon of celery seed, a 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flake. We do just a teensy bit more, we like it spicy, and a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric for your pint jars. Okay, next, to kick the spicy level up, I have a garden salsa pepper. It's about the same heat as a jalapeno, so you could replace it with a jalapeno if you want. I just grow garden salsa peppers because when I make salsa in a few weeks, when everything ripens up, I like the heat of a garden salsa pepper, so I grow them in my garden. I'm just gonna give them a quick slice down the side so we can expose those seeds. I'm not slicing it all the way through. Just expose the heat that's in the middle and stick that in the jar. If you want to top it off, you can. Mine's not going to fit in the pint jar hole, so I'm just going to top it off and stick it in there, and then I'm going to pack the rest of these cucumbers around it. But these have lots of spices, lots of flavor that we need to kind of give it time to settle into the pickle. Okay, let's do some. Same process as before, just pop your cucumbers in there, shake it down when you're using these kind of chip variety. Make sure you get your jars packed nice and tight just to use all that real estate. You could alter this recipe too, so if you have some people that like just a little bit of heat, maybe go easy on these spices in just a couple of jars and just mark them. Make sure you do the water bath maybe separately just so you know which ones are which. Or if you like somebody who likes lots of heat, add some things to it. The only thing you don't want to change in any recipe, like I said before, is the brine itself, because that is the balance of acidity and that's what makes it shelf stable and actually makes it, ensures that it's safe to eat. So if you start messing with the acidity levels and the balance of all of that, you risk putting this on the shelf, and yes, maybe it actually cans properly in terms of, you know, the water bath and the lids sucking down and sealing, but it might not actually be shelf stable in terms of edibility. So you don't want to risk getting yourself or anybody else sick. Beautiful. So I only like to fill the number of jars that I can fit in the water bath at one time. That ensures that my brine stays nice and hot and it doesn't have to use all of its time in the water bath just to come back up to temperature. It actually starts at a nice hot temperature and goes to a boil almost immediately. That's what makes your pickle crisp after you take it out, and that's why the 10-minute timer is so important. So let's go ahead and get our lids out of this water bath here, top them up, and do our first batch of sweet and spicy pickles. And that's a wrap on our little pickle party. We certainly canned enough to stock our pantry and share with friends. So if there are any food critics in the group, drop a comment below. I'd love for you to help me perfect my sweet and spicy recipe. I'll send you a jar and you send me your feedback.